Hey guys, it's Jim Bounds, Motorhome Rehab Ranch. Come on over here. Let's do a little bit of talking. Glad to spend a few minutes with me. This is going to be episode 2 of air ride rear suspension. We already talked about why. Okay? Now we're going to talk about how. I'm going to break it down in 3 sections. Today we're going to talk about air supply. We have to be able to create air on board and hang on to it, right? Next next episode will be air control. Now we have the air, we got to control it. And the last one is the suspension hardware, how to convert the air to a ride suspension, all right? So today we're going to be talking about air supply. All right, the air supply. There's a couple of main components. First is compressor. Compressor. Now, I want you to go to your handy iPad, if you have one or whatever, go to Google and put in air compressor. Okay? Air compressor. You're going to end up with a pile. Your phone might blow up of all different kinds of compressors. And you'll see single cylinder compressors. You'll see a V-twin compressor, looks like it's moving slow over here today. There, like something like that. You might see that. What else? You would see a single cylinder compressor like this. And like this. This will be at the bottom of the video, but really look at your phone. All right. Now, this compressor, okay, is what we're using today. Now, our V-twin compressor was cute, wasn't it? Looked like a little Harley motor, right? Problem is when you transfer with a motor to a belt, it drops energy. You're not as efficient. Why did they have 2? Well, originally, if you looked at a 73 manual, they had a single cylinder compressor with a fan on it. It was really cute too. But it could not handle the amount of pressure, the CFM, that you needed for the system. So they went to Hadley. Hadley is a manufacturer of air compressors. You can still look them up and you can still get through probably Hadley, but the best place is through the GMC specialty dealers, a rebuild compressor kit. It's a cute compressor, like I said, but it pulled a lot of current. And to be honest with you, this is a mission critical device. I wouldn't use an original compressor. I'm sorry. If you have a coach that's a 100-point coach, like I saw last week at Palm Beach, whoa, maybe you want to keep that cute thing. But if it's anything other than a trailer queen, you want to have a new compressor. So I want you to keep with your phone, with your thing here. I want you to go to hornblasters.com. Hornblasters.com. These are the folks that over the years when we had co-op, we went and bought our compressors from. Now, when you go to Horn Blasters, come on, let's go. You're going to see all kinds of stuff. And actually, if you want the world's loudest train horn for your motorhome, they got that too. But go down with the compressors, and you'll see that they have, here we go. They got systems. You want to go to components, air management, air compressors. Go to your systems, go down. You're looking at what we use, and depends on how crazy you want to get. We use a Wether 380. Okay, it's on page 2. Of course, they'd love you to buy 2 rather than 1. You know, I mean, that's how they sell it for $247 right there. That's what it'll look like. Why do you want a Wether 380 specifically? It's one of the first in the series that's 100% duty cycle. In other words, it'll run all day long. Okay. Number two, if you have an Electro-Level II system, it fits real nice into that compartment. Okay. If you have a power level system, you're going to have to build another platform because the footprint of this Wether is different than the old Hadley. So what? No big deal. Okay. This seems to be the place to buy it, and this seems to be the compressor. Now, if you want to go quicker, blah, 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 and all this, you can go to a larger compressor, but the larger compressors pull more current, have more CFM, but more current. You want to balance. You don't want to overload your electrical system. And also, as we get into electrical systems on this thing, there's a way to rewire the power level system and the Electro-Level system to be more efficient in current. And we'll have a video about that, so watch about that. So the first component in the air supply system is the compressor. Next component is the regulator. There is an air regulator. In most of our original systems, it's a gray box, plastic gray box. Already done a video about we swapped that over. Now that was a good regulator, and you got to look at it. It's been around 50 years. But we know the pressures that we want, and we can cut that down by a very, very small regulator. Watch that video. Wether also carries the regulator. All right. Next system is a tank, air tank. Whenever you go look at a compressor at a shop or whatever, it always has a compressor and a tank. Well, three parts. Compressor, the motor, the drive thing, could be a gas motor or whatever, electric motor, and then a tank. The tank holds the air until the control system, the next part of the system, needs it to supply it to the suspension. All systems have tanks. Not really. In the power level system, the tank on 73 is under the battery. Bad idea. The battery acid is heavier than air. The fumes go down and rust the tanks. So after 73, they move the tank under the compressor on the driver's side. Not a bad spot for it, but either one of those, you have to drain the tank. In other words, if you're in a high humid area, the compressor takes the air in, it deposits the water in the tank. So periodically you have to drain this tank, or what happens? Rust gets at the bottom, rust through the thing, the tank goes out. Now, Electro-Level, power level has the tank under the compressor up front. Electro-Level, they moved it down to the hallway, I think because if it's out of sight, out of mind, and the driver's not right under the floor, if there's an air leak, it was hard to not have an air leak back when the mechanics did no idea about air, right? So for them to take a 2-gallon, maybe probably 2.5 gallon air tank that's right under the floor, right under the driver's pedal, and to make it the size of a big fist and put it in the hallway in the back, where the guy in the back hears something every once in a while, goes, ew, ew. Doesn't bother him. Driver's still going. He's not going to bring it back and say there's a problem with it. The mechanics won't pull their hair out because they can't find a daggum air leak. What's air leak? Get the kid over here. We don't know anything about it. You know that happened. So they moved the tank over to the back, and it's a very, very small tank that even when it does lose air, it only takes another 45 seconds or a minute to pump it back up, to pump the whole system back up, and then start slowly rising the system up. Well, so that small tank in the back does do something. You could call it more of an accumulator than a tank, but it is a tank. And because it's a tank, you need to drain it periodically. On the bottom of it is a little Schrader valve. You can spit the water out. Well, what happens? It's going to spit out the rust, and then the seal on the bottom is going to leak, and then the air tank's going to leak forever, right? If yours hasn't done it, what you need to do is you need to take out that Schrader valve, put a 90-degree elbow in there, it's a 1/4 inch pipe thread, and then come out with a ball valve. So periodically you could spit the water and the rust and all the nasty stuff out and still seal it, because chances of a nice big ball valve sealing are much better than that little Schrader valve. Now, some people want to use that Schrader valve on the bottom to actually put air into the tank. That's true. On the power level, you can put air into the tank and then manually go up. On Electro-Level, you can put air in the system and then use all electric controls and it'll work. If you have a Schrader valve on either one. Well, if you put a ball valve in, you can screw a Schrader valve on it and then fill it. But to have a way to empty out that tank is a good idea. Or you guys, I haven't even mentioned you guys with Electro-Level II. Electro-Level II had no air tank at all. No air tank. What they did is it was an on-demand system. They had air compressor on one side and air compressor on the other. If you wanted to go up, this air compressor came on and pumped air directly into the bag. And it went down, there was a down valve built right into the compressor system that let it go down. Man, that made the mechanics really, really happy. And as long as that piece was on the shelf and they could drop it in, boom, that handled half the control system, all the air supply, and there was only an air line from that compressor directly to the airbag. Much simpler, as long as that system was on the shelf. Today it's not. The power level system, and for that matter, the Electro-Level system, can be replaced with parts on the shelf. Okay, it's true. Electro-Level system, each one of those 6 solenoids is about $100. Power level system, the 2 air valves in the dash are way too complicated to hold. And as little as 5 pounds makes a difference. Those controls were way too bad for it. And we'll talk about the control systems on the next episode. What we're talking about here is the air supply, which was a compressor, 12 volts. Now, some people have put in a 110 compressor, Mole Power, American Way, fatter steaks, all that. You can do that any way that you want to supply air and you want to have air available for the control system. It's fine with me. Power level system, they actually duplicated an original air supply system in the shop. Got it out for a couple of years, realized the problems, built the Electro-Level system to solve the problems of air supply and air control. And then the Electro-Level II was the great idea. Unfortunately, guys, with Electro-Level II, we're going to have to redesign the whole thing, which may or may not be a bad thing. Okay, may or may not, because remember, your Electro-Level II system had no air tank. And in the future, because of the compressors we have and the reliability and all that, going with a new system with no air tank, you'll see when we get to the end of this series, might be a way to go, because you can turn the compressor on, it will pump it up direct. Now, in that Wether compressor, there's a stainless steel line on there, which is part of the compressor because there's a check valve built in. So you can hook that up directly to the airbag, pump the thing up, and then you get one solenoid to drop it. You follow? So the system that I'm going to recommend in the future does not need, it needs a compressor, it needs a way to pump it up, and it needs a regulator to bring it up to pressure where it wants to go. But that's it. All right. Well, guys, thanks for the time. We've run a little bit longer than normal. This is a part of a series. If you've just hit this one, there is the first in the series is why do we do this? And the next in the series will be the control systems. I hope this helps. This is a basic overview. At the end, we will also get into the electrical of the power level system and the Electro-Level system and the Electro-Level II and all of the modifications and things to put them in. Cool, man. Thanks. Branch hands, thanks a lot. This will be in the database. We'll see you next time.